Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Platinum with only Pokemon that later become Fairy types was a particularly strange team run. Let's follow that up with a very strange solo run. Today's the day that we figure out would I be able to beat Pokemon White 2 with a team of only one Slaking. Man, I love doing Slaking runs. They're so different from anything else. For the uninitiated, Slaking is an ultra-powerful normal-type Pokemon with incredible stats that easily rival and even surpass some legendaries, but it has the crippling ability Truant, where it does nothing every other turn. So we're fast, we're tanky, we hit insanely hard, but we're constantly giving our opponents free hits on us. By level up, we learn a lot of good moves like Slack Off for healing, Amnesia to boost our relatively low special defense, and Hammer Arm for a really powerful fighting move. Plus we get Feint Attack so we don't have to worry about double team spam. There isn't much type coverage here, but that's okay, because our TM moves make up for it. Would you look at this list? It's gonna have to be one of those times where I cut the image in half just to fit it on screen. Thunderbolt, Earthquake, Ice Beam, Shadow Ball, Aerial Ace, Flamethrower, Rock Slide, and the list goes on and on. I don't quite get access to all of these, since some of them are in out-of-reach areas or the battle subway ones that are impractical to get, but we still do get a decent amount of them. In Gen 5 where TMs are reusable, we might need to swap moves in and out a lot to get past hard fights. Like always, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I'm actually not sure. Yes, we're incredibly powerful, but it's harder to use Pokemon with bad abilities in later gens because the AI is better. We might get stalled out by something with Protect. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Slaking. I'll need other Pokemon to use HM, so I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Snivy with Slaking so that we can do the whole run with it. I name him King Mabel, like last time. Looks like our nature is lonely for more attack and less defense. I mean, I guess I'm okay with that. Our defense is gonna be pretty high anyway, and I'd rather this than losing anything else. Having low speed would mean that we get hit at least twice as much, and I don't really want our special defense to be through the floor. Plus, we're likely gonna use some special attacks for type coverage, so I guess I'm fine with this. While we do the early game travel, I'm sure people are gonna ask why I'm starting with a fully evolved Slaking. Well, part of it is that I want the Truant ability the entire run, since that makes it interesting, but I also kind of like how unique it makes it starting with a Slaking. A lot of challenges I do are ones that are impossible without the randomizer, and thus the devs would never have balanced the game for it, but with the weird ones like this, it's especially true. This is almost like a Regigigas run, where we have a legendary with an ability that holds us back, although I'd argue this is probably harder than with Regigigas. Anyway, we have a rival fight in the normal gym coming up that I almost always have a very slow grind for, but I think that they're going to be easy this run. Really, I think that everything is going to be really easy until we get to the mainland, so let's plow through the rival fight, normal gym, and poison gym real quick. So first is the rival fight, and despite being an entire Slaking fighting one tiny little pig, we lost half our health before we knocked it out. This must be what it feels like being on the other end of one of my challenge runs. Next up is the normal gym, but this one actually goes really well. I mean, I'm sure I could have healed with Slack Off if our health got really low, but we were just using Scratch and easily overpowered them. How will the poison gym go next town over, though? We still take poison damage on our Truant turn, so we're basically taking double poison damage. That could be a real problem. Well, this fight was pretty miserable. After fainting twice just getting to the gym leader because of poison being such an issue, we had this incredibly long fight with the leader herself. We don't do great damage, she can heal back up with a super potion, and thanks to a crit against a Whirlipede, we fainted before we could heal back up. I never got poisoned though, so there's hope. I'm gonna keep trying. If we end up getting poisoned though, then I think we're doomed until I level up more. Alright, well on the very next try, we had this never-ending fight where we beat Coughing alright, but Whirlipede was just a mess. We were literally using Slack Off every single turn where we could do anything because the Venishocks did so much damage that taking a single break from healing would make us faint. The fact that he crit again really didn't help. But then phase 2 of the fight was even worse when he ran out of power points on Venoshock and switched to Poison Sting and poisoned us on the first try. Naturally, we take double damage from poison since we waste so many turns. We ended up running out of power points on Slack Off, and we only won while in red health. We came incredibly close to losing that awful fight. Well, the easy part didn't last long now, did it? We have the Bug Gym, Colress, and the Electric Gym coming up, and none of them are gonna be easy. The Bug Gym is gonna have a Leavanny with Razor Leaf, who I know we can't two-shot, and will likely be faster than us because of String Shot. Colress is gonna paralyze us and resist all of our moves, and the Electric Gym will paralyze us as well. And remember, paralysis is way more dangerous when you're truant, because missing a turn means you won't do anything for 3 turns in a row. I'm gonna get the leftovers in the sewers for a bit of healing, and I'll learn strength for a better normal move, but I really don't think this is gonna go well. Alright, first tried the Bug Gym, and it was all easy until Leavanny. We ran into the exact same issue as the Poison Gym fight. We have to heal non-stop because we don't actually have enough health to survive taking a break to attack. This is even worse though because he's using Razor Leaf and it has a high crit rate, dooming us. Guys, I think I just have to learn Return at this point. Yeah, it has a hair over 100 power, but if you're only attacking every other turn, that's like a 50 power move. The only advantage this has over a regular Pokemon with a 50 power move is that I'm more likely to get one-shots. But even then, we're slower, so it hardly matters. I might still just lose this, but we'll need Return for the Colress fight after anyway, so let's give it a try. Alright, this is brutal. I was hardly doing any more damage than I was with Strength, so it was looking pretty awful, but after a few tries, we won literally just because one Razor Leaf missed, and none of them crit. Return didn't really help us at all, but I don't regret learning it because this upcoming Colress fight might be even worse. Alright, this Colress fight was a mess. The Magnemite was easy, but it paralyzed us, and that made the Clink fight horrible. He was spamming Gear Grind every turn, and we just had to non-stop heal because the very few times that we could have attacked, we were fully paralyzed. This fight was so close that we had 1 health at one point when we were saved by Slack Off. The worst part is that there's a sandstorm in the area undoing all the healing that we're getting from leftovers, but he's Steel-type so it doesn't hurt him. We literally only won this fight when we were able to last so long that he ran out of power points on his only attacking move. I bet the Electric Gym is going to be even worse than this. Alright, well, never mind, this was actually a pretty simple first try. In fact, the only reason why we took a lot of damage was due to missing a turn from paralysis and also getting crit. Other than that, it was really simple. Well, I guess I could go cross the bridge and just walk right into the ground gym then. Alright, this is a rough one. First is Crocodile, and although he's a one-shot, his Intimidate drops our attack, so this is already an uphill battle. Second is Sandslash, and I had to try this fight 7 times because he often lowers our speed with Bulldoze. Then he'll either spam Crush Claw or Rollout. If he uses Rollout, then often we just faint, and if he uses Crush Claw and gets a defense drop on us, then we take way too much damage from Excadrill right after. On this run though, we survived and didn't lose defense. It didn't matter though, because as soon as Excadrill came out, he raised his attack with Metal Claw, and we were hardly doing any damage. Yeah, we're not even close to winning this one yet. I'm gonna have to start with the rare candies. So I got to level 38, and right away we swept the first 2 Pokemon pretty fast, so it was all up to Excadrill, but man, this was not easy. He got an attack boost early from Metal Claw, so we kept having to hang on with Slack Off. We got some returns in where we could, but he ended up dropping us to a Sliver so he could Hyper Potion back up. I thought we were eventually going to lose this because things were in his favor. After all, if he keeps attacking, then eventually he's going to crit, and it might take me out. It's not like I can critically heal up to make up for it. But eventually, we got a chance to use Return while he had full health, and we ended up critting him to one-shot him. Considering how few times we actually got to use Return against him, that was really lucky. Now, we have to go do the normally super easy tournament, but because of Truant, I could see it being hard. Well, Arrival was just a sweep. He didn't have anything special he could throw at us. Sharon right after I thought might survive a hit and do a little bit of damage because of Intimidate, but he was pretty easy too. And last is Colress, who I thought might have some potential if he paralyzed us, but we have Bulldoze now, so Steel types just aren't that much of an issue anymore. That last Colress fight's gonna be one of the worst fights in the game though, isn't it? Alright, now that we have a little bit of type coverage, I think the next chunk of the run might not actually be too bad. We have a Flying Gym that I think is gonna be a sweep, a rival fight that might be hard since he has a fighting type, the Dragon Gym that I think we can just tank our way through, and a Zinzolent fight that I don't think can cause us problems as long as they don't freeze us. Then it's that water gym, but really, what can they do to us? We have feint attack for the ghost type, we have return for everything else. We're at the point now where as long as they don't throw harmful effects on us, we're kind of unstoppable. Maybe I'm getting too confident though. The ground gym stalled us for quite a while, and all they did was lower some of our stats and raise their own attack a bit. Alright, this flying gym was insane. I thought this would be a sweep, but only the swoop at the start was. As soon as Swanna came out, it hit Feather Dance, and that destroyed our attack so badly that we couldn't outdamage Swanna's Roost. I just kept hanging on with leftovers and slack off, while hitting return and feint attack whenever we could, just hoping that I'd eventually crit and one-shot it, but we never did. We spent entire minutes slowly attacking over and over to the point that she was running out of power points on her moves. Eventually, she ran out of roosts and we took her out, but next is Skarmory. Obviously it's tanky, so even though it couldn't hurt us much, we were hardly able to hurt it either. It got to the point where we ran out of slack-offs, and we just hardly got a win because she stopped using her stronger moves. It was a first try, but it was also an insanely long 7 minutes. And let me tell you, it's hard to get a solo fight like this to go 7 minutes in Gen 5. The text boxes are actually very fast in Gen 5. Could you even imagine how long that fight would have went if I had battle animations turned on? That was insane. Next is the rival fight, and I thought this might be a hard one, but we one-shot Embor thanks to our high damage return, and his takedown's recoil damage, so the fight ended up being really easy. After that is the Dragon Gym, and although this took 2 tries thanks to him using Dragon Tail to swap us to an HM Pokemon the first time, we won easily after I deposited the rest of my team. Dragon Tail just doesn't do a ton of damage to us. Naturally, the Zinzolan fight right after was insanely easy. This guy basically always is if you're not weak to ice types. After that is the Water Gym though, and although the first 2 Pokemon were easy, the Jellicent at the end just kept beating us. It doesn't help that Scald often burns us, but even before getting burned, there's a worse issue. We always drop him into range to use Recover, and because we have Truant turns, he always gets a chance to use it. We can't actually make him faint without a crit. We're pretty much the same level as him though, so I think that leveling up a bit more might be the right move. We'll see how it goes after a few more levels. So I still had to try this fight several times at level 60 because I just kept getting burnt, and thus was doing way too little damage to get past Jellicent. But finally on the first try where we didn't get burnt, we got a one-shot on Jellicent and won. It's crazy how much one status affliction can wreck us when we're truant. Some of those last fights weren't too horrible, but it's time for what might be one of the worst fights of the whole game. We have Colress, Ghetsis, and our rival. Now Ghetsis might not be too horrible, and our rival will actually probably be easy, but Colress is horrible. His first 2 Pokemon have Sturdy, so they can't be one-shot, and they know Thunder Wave, so there's literally no way we can get past them without getting paralyzed. Being paralyzed the whole fight just means we're probably gonna miss an unreal amount of turns. Let's just get this nightmare over with. Alright, as expected, this Colress fight is horrible. No matter what, we always get paralyzed on the first turn. I keep trying over and over, but paralysis just gives them so many chances to hit us. Literally, the only Pokemon on their team that I can get to faint is Magnezone because he uses Explosion. But then the Klinklang he sends in is basically impossible because he's holding Air Balloon, so we can't just hit Bulldoze. We have to hit another damaging move first to pop it. And that would just be to knock out one of his 5 Pokemon. Every time that we're fully paralyzed, that's 3 turns in a row where we can't do anything. Meaning that 4th turn, we almost always have to heal with Slack Off and just hope we aren't fully paralyzed again. This might be one of the hardest fights the entire run, I'm calling it now. We're gonna need to be above level 80 just to win this one. Damage doesn't really mean much here. We just need to be so unbelievably tanky that we can afford to take hit after hit after hit and not faint. It's time to really crack out the rare candies. Alright, this is wild. So I get up to level 70 and we have this incredible run where not only did they hardly hurt us going into the Klinklang fight, but we weren't fully paralyzed a single turn, so we were just sweeping them left and right. It looked like I was gonna get an incredibly early win after everything on his team fainted but his first Magneton, when he both crit us and dropped our special attack, then finished us off with another hit on the turn that we would have knocked him out. As close as that was, it was unreal luck to never be fully paralyzed. I'm gonna have to level more. Alright, a couple tries into level 75, and we're getting less lucky than before, of course, and it seemed like we were going to feint against Kling Klang since he was raising his attack so much, but a lucky crit on return ended up taking him out extremely early. And although Matang was powering up his attack a lot with Meteor Mash, we still got past him with decent health. In the end, it came down to us against Magneton again, and we got multiple special defense drops this time. But unlike last time, we actually got an attack on the last round and finally got the knockout. I have to say, this didn't take as long as I originally thought that it would, but it still wasn't great. Could you imagine how horrible this fight would have been if I didn't have leftovers? Well, I knew that Ghetsis would be easier, but I didn't see this coming. I forgot that his first Pokemon has the ability Mummy, so that overwrote our Truant ability, allowing us to just sweep his team easily. It's pretty cool. Just one rival fight to go, and then we're at the Elite Four. Well, our rival ended up being really easy. We just swept with return. We took a bit of damage, but we had to get pretty over-leveled for the colress fight, so this wasn't a problem. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Man, would you look at our attack stat? The health is pretty fantastic, too. I'm not sure how I feel about this Elite Four. Maybe getting burned against Chantel might be an issue, but I'm really not too worried about this. I think Marshall is going to be the hardest of the Elite Four, but I've got that team for Aerial Ace, so if I'm not already getting one-shots, I could try that. Overall, I'm not too worried. As long as we don't get paralyzed or poisoned, I think this might not be too bad. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Ghost Trainer Chantel. Now this took 7 tries, and I know that sounds bad, but it really wasn't hard. Chantel starts with Cofagrigus, so we get the Mummy ability to bypass Truant, but she also opens with Will-O-Wisp. If she burns us, then we never get anywhere close to winning, but after 7 tries, she missed Will-O-Wisp, and then we won pretty easily. Second is Dark Trainer Grimsley. Right away, Liepard did the dirty trick of using Fake Out, so we lost our first turn to the flinch, then we were Truant on the second, but it was still just a one-shot, and we hardly got hurt at all, so I guess it was fine. Second is Scrafty, who was also just a one-shot, but third is Crocodile. He's a one-shot, but our attack is down from Intimidate. Because of that, Bisharp at the end survived a Bulldoze and sharply rose his attack from his ability. On the first try, we lost here due to a critical Night Slash, but on the second try, he didn't crit, so we just hardly managed to survive and land a 2-shot for the win. Third is Fighting Trainer Marshall. This one is rough, but I see a light at the end of the tunnel. His whole team are one-shots except for Sock at the end, who I'm sure would hold on with Sturdy if we were to hit him, but we never get that far. His team hits us incredibly hard, to the point that we can't out-heal him with Slack Off, so we just have to hit return every time we can. That's bad, but High Jump Kick does miss 10% of the time. I'm gonna try until that misses. If it misses and we don't get crit, then we might survive with a Sliver, but if that fails, then just getting more levels is gonna be our only answer. We don't need to be stronger, we just need to survive more hits. Oh well, we lucked out and High Jump Kick missed on the very next try, but as expected, we couldn't take out Sock. He was just using full restores to hang on longer, and although we could heal off Slack Off, he was doing slightly more damage than we were healing. Well, at least I appreciate that I don't have to try 100 times for High Jump Kick to miss just to find out that we'd lose anyway. I'll get some levels and use something like Feint Attack next time. That way we can take out Sock with return faster by not having to deal with Sturdy. Alright, this was wild. After losing 19 times in a row due to trying to get an attempt where High Jump Kick would miss, he just randomly uses U-turn for no reason, leading to us taking way less damage the whole fight. Then Sock used Payback instead of Brick Break on the first turn, so we easily won by using Feint Attack in return. I have no idea why that happened, but I'll take it. Fourth is Psychic Trainer Caitlyn. This was no problem at all. We just totally overpowered them. They did hit hard with Focus Blast, but it's fine. We're a level 85 Slaking. It's gonna take more than one Focus Blast to take us down. Finally, the Pokemon Champion Iris. Right away, Hydreigon was a one-shot with return, and second is Druddigon. It hits Focus Blast for a really solid amount of damage before we can use return to one-shot it as well. Aggron uses Automize to speed up while we were Truant, but we're still faster, so we just hit Bulldoze for a one-shot. It probably should have just attacked us. Haxorus is next, and it used Dragon Dance once to become faster than us, then it used it again on the next round. We hit it and should have one-shotted, but it was saved by Focus Sash, then full restored. After that, we got hit by an Earthquake, but it really didn't do that much damage, and we one-shotted on the second try. Focus Sash doesn't save you every time. Lapras hits Surf for a tiny bit of damage before we one-shot it, and last is Archeops, who hits Rock Slide, and last is Archeops, whose Rock Slide just didn't hurt us that bad. We landed an easy one-shot with Return for a pretty simple first try at the champion. Slaking is always fun to use, so that was a pretty good run. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon X, with just one Snubble. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments in the challenge request section of my Discord channel and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I don't know if you could tell, I'm still sick. I'm not nearly as sick as I was doing the voiceover last week, thankfully. That's why I left this all the way for Saturday. Normally I like to do the voiceover earlier so I can get the edit done earlier, so I can get it up on Patreon and for the YouTube members earlier, but I was still like a total sniffling, coughing mess earlier in the week. I've still been sniffling today, I've still been coughing today, but it's little enough that it'll be pretty easy to edit out, and it hasn't slowed me down and tripped me up too badly. I get the feeling by early next week, I'm gonna be just fine in terms of, like, you know, streaming and everything. I haven't been able to stream the last couple weeks because I've been so sick, I've been such a mess. It's the last day of February right now, the 28th right now when I'm recording this voiceover, just for context. This is the point where I talk about what's going on in my life, but unfortunately I don't have fun news for you. Sabu's dental appointment got pushed off again. It was supposed to be March 5th. Well, originally it was in January. It got pushed to March 5th because of that huge snowstorm that hit most of the United States and a bunch of Canada as well. We were totally snowed in, and the vet's office was snowed in as well, so they called me and they canceled that. Thankfully I didn't get charged like a cancellation fee or anything. And then it was pushed to March 5th because that was the next time they were going to have the dental surgeon in. And then I got a call earlier in the week, and it turns out that my vet is sick. And March 5th is going to be the first day that she's back in, but they have other surgeries that are more important, so those have to happen first. So mine got pushed to late March now, but I guess it's kind of a good thing that it got pushed so many times, because my January pay just came in from YouTube. And look, if you've watched YouTubers who talk about like what it's like working for YouTube, then you'll know January pay is legendary for how much less you get paid than any other month. The logic makes sense when you hear about it. It's that, you get paid based on advertisement views, duh. And the advertisers on YouTube only pay so much money based on how many views they get or whatever. They're gonna pay a lot more money in a month like December, where they want to get you to buy stuff for people for Christmas. And they're gonna pay way less money for advertisements in January, because that's the month where people have the least spending money. That makes sense. The unfortunate side effect is that means that as cool of a job as YouTube is, and it is a really fun job, I do really like it, it means that even if you do the same amount of work as you did in December and every other month of the year, you get paid way less in January, even if you get the exact same amount of views and ad views and everything that you get every other month. Which is what happened to me. Now, February, you also get paid less, partly because there's 2 to 3 less days than other months, and also partly because ad views don't recover fully in February. They usually recover more in March. I just got my January pay and pulling back the curtain because I don't care. Look, someone on YouTube has to be transparent about this stuff. I got paid like $800 less than I usually do for the exact same amount of views, and in reality it was less than that. I got more super chats in January than I normally do, and even with that, I got $800 less than usual. And also, for transparency, the dental surgery coming up is $1,000 to $100. These are Canadian dollars I'm talking about, by the way, for you Americans, in case you're curious. And so that's a brutal combo right there. This is the worst January pay I've had in ages. It's just, again, it's up to the whims of YouTube pay. You don't really have any control over that. And so I genuinely would have to be choosing between dental surgery for my cat and paying both my rent and my mom's rent, if not for how this got pushed off. So you know what? Silver lining. I guess it's a good thing this got pushed off, although I'm not really thrilled is getting pushed off a whole lot, because I am worried that, like, if they keep pushing off his dental surgery, he could have to get teeth extracted at some point, and that's not great. Look, cats are fine without teeth. My other cat, Rocky, he was a stray that I took in. He doesn't have any teeth, and he still lives a really happy life, but, like, I've had Sabu since he was a kitten. I really don't want his quality of life to degrade when it's still, like, somewhat under my control, you know what I mean? So normally I would just stream a whole lot to help make up for that, you know, get a little bit of extra income going, do a little bit of fundraising, and give you guys something fun to watch. But I've been sick as a dog the last couple weeks, so I haven't been able to. I've just been doing my regular work on the Pokemon challenges and all the other behind-the-scenes things that I do. Anyway, point being that I am finally mostly healthy again, so I'm going to be streaming a whole lot. It's going to have fundraising elements. My streams are probably just going to have that for the foreseeable future, with the way YouTube has gone, with ad value going down in general. Actually, something a little heartwarming happened. Recently, I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying, "Yay, I'm happy you're back in my algorithm." Which I guess that means that YouTube is being kind and showing that my videos are up for the people who have been subscribed to me for years, but it hasn't been telling them that I'm still doing videos on their homepage. That's one of those weird ones where it's like, you can either be frustrated that I wasn't showing up for them when they wanted to watch this whole time, or you can just be happy along with them that you're finally back on their homepage again. That is pretty cool. I'm happy that I'm streaming more Pokemon stuff for you guys, and other stuff as well. Of course, I put some stuff up on my streaming channel, I put some stuff up on this channel. I want to stream more bits of me, like, playing these Pokemon challenges, because that was really fun a couple weeks ago. I wasn't very productive while I was doing the stream, but you can watch it if you want to see some of what it looks like when I'm recording these challenges. It's on the live tab of the YouTube channel you're on right now, if you want to go see that. And I've been talking with my friends. We're finally going to be recording the next Pokemon A Journey. We're doing Pokemon Ultra Moon A Journey. I've been planning this for like a month now before this money stuff got as bad, but who knows, maybe it'll help. So I guess there's more silver lining there. Either way, I really just want to hang out with my friends more and do those fun Let's Plays for you guys, and I've been wanting to do the next Pokemon game for ages, because I've only played a little bit of Gen 7 in my life. I want to finally beat it, and the sooner that I beat it, the sooner I can start doing challenges in Gen 7. I'm excited to do that. You're probably excited to watch that, because you guys have been requesting Gen 7 runs for years and years and years, basically since I started, so I'm excited to finally do that. And for the sake of fundraising, I may finally bite the bullet and do a Nuzlocke. I legendarily do not like doing Nuzlocks in Pokemon. I just don't find it very fun having permadeath in a game with, like, random crits and stuff. And you know how much randomness is in Pokemon. But, it is the most requested thing I have ever had, ever. And if my job is to bring you guys fun videos and fun streams and stuff, and in return, you watch my videos and I get to feed my family, then I will do it. I am going to figure out a time, figure out a game, and I will start streaming some Nuzlocks. And I really do hope that you guys like it, because I'm gonna grit my teeth and find a way to enjoy it. It's fine, I make a big deal about it, but I'm sure I will have a fun time. I always have a fun time when I'm hanging out with you guys on stream. And look, I'm a crazy person who has found a way to make my job grinding in Pokemon, and yet I still absolutely adore my job. I wouldn't trade this for anything. Like, it's literally a dream come true. When I started on YouTube, you could not get paid doing this. Not in gaming, at least you couldn't. That was against the rules initially. And yet here I am, getting to make a living, making my silly videos. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, it's a lot of time sitting, which is not the best on my back and my neck. However, I would rather be doing this than anything else in the world. I adore this job, and it means the world to me that I get to entertain you guys while doing it. Speaking of entertaining people and them giving back in return, thank you so much to the $50 supporter shout-out tier on both my YouTube membership page and my Patreon. Jacob Busby, Javid Kusro, Grayson Fitz, Tara Louise, Alexandra Hedgeblog, Joel Mann, Dark Souls, Young Smoky VP, Cal Anderson, and Crystal Sunrise. Thank you again for your continued support, especially through the dry months of January and February. It's very much appreciated. I think that's all I have to talk about for the outro, is that Pokemon Ultra Moon, a journey coming up. I'm going to be doing more streams in general, both Pokemon and not Pokemon, as soon as I stop being super sniffly for the first many hours of the day, which I suspect, you know, by the time this video airs, I'll probably be much better by then, and you'll probably already have seen some of the streams. Probably gonna have to do some more fundraising, just because, look, I got people to feed, it is what it is. Really, a big part of it is that sponsor money on YouTube. When you do a sponsorship, you don't usually see that money for 60 to 90 days, depending on the sponsor. And so, like, if the sponsor money for all the sponsorships I've been doing was already in, I'd be fine right now. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. Anyway, yeah, I gotta get this thing edited. It's gonna take extra long to edit this one too, because whenever there's a long outro like this one, the credits take like hours and hours to render, and I'm updating the credits on this one. I don't update it every single week, because Adobe Premiere Pro absolutely hates when I have to edit a credit sequence that long. Like, it almost crashes on me. So I only update it like once a month. This is the time that I'm gonna update it. So let's hope that doesn't delay the release of this too much. Let's hope that doesn't delay it too much, because I really want to get this up for you guys, all the people who pay for the early access. $3 US, by the way. $3 US a month on the Patreon and the YouTube members thingy, if you want that. Yeah, okay, I haven't even eaten yet. I'm gonna go grab a delicious homemade muffin. And then I'm gonna get editing this thing as fast as I can for you guys. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.